Welcome to Inspiration and Transformation from the Banks of the Ganga with Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati, an American sannyasi living at the Parmarth Niketan ashram in Rishikesh, India. Sadhvi is president of the Divine Shakti Foundation, a charitable organization bringing education, vocational training, upliftment, and empowerment programs to women and children. Sadhvi is also Secretary General of the Global Interfaith Wash Alliance and Director of the world-famous International Yoga Festival. Join the musings of an American sannyasi as Sadhvi shares the wisdom and teachings of her guru, His Holiness Pujya Swami Chidanand Saraswatiji.
Welcome everyone to Inspiration and Transformation from the holy banks of the sacred Ganga River in the land of Rishikesh, India. How do we embark and follow that path of discovering the truth of who we are, of discovering the soul, of self-realization, God realization, soul realization? You begin right here, right now. You begin where every minute that you say to yourself, I am, and you fill in that blank with something that has to do with your physical body, that has to do with a role you play or an emotion you're having, that every time you say that to yourself, that you come back and you say, not this, not this. Right? So if you say, oh, I'm so angry, or I'm so frustrated, or I'm so happy, got an A on the exam, had a great pizza dinner, I'm so happy. Say to yourself, Neti-Neti, not this, not this. I am not the body that's happy from eating pizza. I am not the ego that's happy from an exam score. I'm not the ego that's angry at this or frustrated by that. I'm not the chemicals or electricity in my brain that gives me a pattern that we call anger or sadness or happiness. Every time you say something like, I am successful, or don't you know who I am? Or the opposite, I am worthless. I'm lazy, I'll never achieve anything. Anytime you say anything like that, any I statement like that, just say, Neti-Neti, not this, not that. I am not my job. I am not my role, my title, my bank account, my story. Whether I consider myself a big man or a nobody, either way, I'm not that. It's just a story. It's a story my ego's concocted based on information from the outside world, based on experiences. But it's not who I am. Because I existed long before I decided I was a big man, or long before I decided I was a nobody. I existed long before I was angry or frustrated, long before I had the pizza dinner that made me happy, long before I was anything that you could fill in after I am. So just whenever you find yourself saying I, Neti-Neti, not this, not this. And slowly, 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 that awareness will blossom. And do it as a meditation. It's a beautiful meditation. And you just go through one by one all of that which you are not. Not the clothes you're wearing, not the skin, not the blood, not the bones, not the organs. Right? You do it very slowly, one by one. I am not the clothes I'm wearing. I am not the skin beneath the bones. And you go layer by layer and you stay with each one until the mind says, yeah, like I know that, I get that, I know that is true. Not just I'm repeating it like a mantra, but I actually know it is true. I know that I am not my blood. I know that I am not my organs. Because see, I donated a kidney, but I'm still here. I didn't cease to exist. Or I got a kidney transplant, but I didn't become a different person. I had my appendix removed. Didn't lose myself. So I'm not my organs. I'm not the bones. I'm not the blood. And then you get into the cells of the brain, right? I am not my neurons, obviously. I'm not gray matter. I'm not white matter. I'm not the chemicals inside the vesicles, the end of each neuron. I'm not the electricity that runs down the axon of the neuron, causing the vesicles of the chemicals to be released. It's not who I am. I'm not chemistry. I'm not serotonin. I'm not norepinephrine. I'm not dopamine. These are just chemicals in my brain. But if I'm not them, then it means I'm not my thoughts. It means I'm not my emotions. It means I'm not my memories. All of that which takes place in the brain happens because of chemicals and electricity. So if I'm not that, then I'm also not my thoughts, not my emotions, not my identification, not my personality. I'm nothing that can be altered, chemically or physically. So anytime you think I am that, ask yourself, if I were really drunk or I were on drugs, would that thing still be the same? And if the answer is no, then it means, well, all you've done is altered your chemistry. Right? I mean, how many people under the influence of something say, that was not me? I don't know who that was not me. Meaning, that which I said, that which I did, is not the way I normally think of myself. But all you did was change chemistry. So just as you were not the new person who was under the influence, similarly, you're not the old person. Because that's also just chemistry. It's just chemistry without the additional intoxicants. Anything that would change if you changed the brain structurally. So you have a stroke, a hemorrhage, a brain injury, a lesion. If that would alter any aspect of who you think you are, your personality, your identity, your emotions, your memories, well, clearly that can't be you because you're not your temporal lobes, right? You're not your prefrontal cortex. It's just a part of your brain. It's not who you are. So you do this practice called Neti-Neti. Not this, not this. And you go through anything that arises, anything you can think of, anything that you think you might be. And just allow that to percolate for a while in your mind and ask yourself, really, is that really me? Could that be altered chemically? Could that be altered physically? And if so, then it's not me because I don't cease to exist or change. The depth of who I am doesn't change just because I'm drunk or I had a stroke. I don't change. Just my brain changes. Means that's not who I am. And as soon as you clear all of that which you are not, what is left? Soul. Divinity. That infinite consciousness. It's all that's left. I am consciousness. I am soul. It's the only thing that doesn't come and go or change. But that awareness comes by removing all of the layers of that which I think I am. And only then can you see what you really are. If you want to see in a river or lake, you have to remove the gunk from the surface. If you want to see outside the window, you have to clean it and open the curtains. And so we do these practices to clean our eyesight so we can see.
Conscious media for conscious minds. Om Times. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of Om Times Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going Om. My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back to Inspiration and Transformation. I'm so glad to have you all back here with me. How do we attract a true and genuine circle of friends? Friends who are good for us. In the Hindu tradition, in the Buddhist tradition as well, there's an emphasis on what we call Sangha, that association. Satsang is the association of truth. We use it as just, the general word to describe coming together in meditation, in prayer, in this question-answer experience. But satsang is literally the association with truth. That sangha, that association is critical. Who you hang out with is critical to who you become. And this is why that power of association is so important, and why we always emphasize, make sure you surround yourself with people who are what you want to become. Make sure you surround yourself with those who share your values, who share your ethics, who share your priorities. If you are looking to drink alcohol less, or party less, or gossip less, to hang out with people who spend all day long sitting at bars getting drunk and gossiping is not going to be a wise choice. It's going to be a choice that's going to bring you into unwanted patterns. You're going to look then for people who are doing that which you want to do. And so the way to find that, the way to attract that, is to become that. You know, I know so many people, not so much now that I'm much older and a nun living in India, but I remember when I was much younger, friends, when they were dating, they would say things like, I don't know where to meet the right man I want to be with. Or I don't know where to meet the right girl I want to be with. I keep going to the bars and I just can't find him, can't find her. And I always would laugh because nobody wants to be with the type of person who goes and just hangs out in the bars. But where do you go to try to meet the person that you're looking for? The bars, the clubs. And it was this great irony of people saying, every weekend I'm going to bars, I'm going to clubs, I'm going to pubs, looking for somebody. But all the people I meet are people who don't really share my values and my ethics. They're the type of people who hang out in bars and clubs. And you think, well, if you don't want to be with the type of person who hangs out in bars and clubs, why are you going to bars and clubs looking for them? You need to ask yourself, where are you going to meet those people you want to be with? Whether it's a life romantic partner, a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or whether it's just a group of friends. If you meet them in a place that's full of people doing things you don't like to do, then you're not going to have a lot in common with them. And this is why it's so important. Go to the places that are of the values you have, the priorities you have. Go to yoga classes. Go to meditation. Go to satsang. Go to kirtan. Go volunteering. Go feed the hungry. Go spending Saturdays planting trees. Go helping others. Help the homeless. Do something so that the people you meet there are going to be the type of people who go to kirtan, who go to yoga, who go to satsang, who go to meditation, who volunteer to help others. Those are going to be the people you want to hang out with. So in order to meet them, you need to be in those places, both in person and also online. The online communities we're part of, ask yourself, are these people I really want to spend time with? Or am I just swept up by some online influencer or some this or some that celebrity, whatever? Wasting all our time there. Instead of that, join online communities of spiritual seekers, of meditators, of devotees. Create a sangha. If one doesn't exist that you want to be part of, create one. Put a call out into the world. We are lovers of Ma Ganga. Create a community. It's the beautiful thing about the online world. There's so many people. Even if you don't have 10,000 members of your community, it doesn't matter. Even if you've just got 10, well, those are 10 people then that you can connect with. So create the community or join it, look for it. But don't rely only on online communities. We need in-person, living, breathing, energetic connections in our lives Too many of us are too lonely because we spend too much time online. And we forget that those aren't actually real friends. They're just people who are your friends online. Some of them may overlap, but don't mistake friends online or followers online or likes online from real friends. Real people you really like, who really like you. Not who just clicked here to like something. So you'll find them. The world is full of beautiful people. Just take that first step. Reach out, open your heart. Put out that beautiful, energetic message to the world that my heart is open. And then connect. Whoever you meet, do namaste. That divinity in me bows to the divinity in you. And you'll magnetize a group of people. And even if not a big group, it doesn't matter. We don't need 50 best friends. You just need a few people. 2, 3, 1. With whom you can really share, with whom you can really open up.
The Real Conscious Connection. Om Times Radio. IOM FM. Om Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Om Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
You came across someone struggling with hunger. How would you recognize them? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for summer break
because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time
landing a job and getting back on his feet?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with inspiration and transformation. How can we apply the teaching of Neti-Neti, not this, to our spiritual practice? So, a beautiful meditation is a meditation that we call Neti-Neti meditation. And it's a very simple to do, but very deeply profound meditation. And basically it looks like saying something like, I am not my sorry. I am not my skin. I am not the blood flowing beneath my skin. I am not my muscles. I am not my bones. And you go one by one through all of the different aspects of the body. From the most gross, like the clothes and the skin and limbs, to the most subtle. The chemical and electrical patterns of energy in our brain that we call thoughts or memories or emotions or beliefs. And with each thing you say, not this, I am not that. And you only move on to the next thing when you get kind of a full, yeah, I know it inside you. So if I say I'm not my clothes, the whole body-mind complex says, yeah, of course. Like, I know I'm not my clothes. Change clothes every day, sometimes a couple times a day. Obviously, nothing is happening to the self when I take off my clothes. Same thing as you go through your skin and your blood and your bones and your organs. And so there's a mental yes with each thing. As it gets more subtle, it sometimes takes a little bit longer to get the yes from the internal being. But eventually it comes because we realize, well, I'm not chemicals. I'm not serotonin. I'm not norepinephrine. I'm not dopamine, causing the chemical to be released and then a chain reaction into the next neuron. I'm not electricity. It went out, it came back, here we still are, no change. I'm not chemicals. And so if I realize that I'm not chemicals or electricity, then obviously I'm not my thoughts, my emotions, my beliefs. That's the meditation. But the question says, how do we bring Neti-Neti into our spiritual practice? So not just the meditation, but in our lives. And it's a really powerful thing. All of that, which we do in our meditation, the whole point of it is to change how we live. Everything you experience in meditation is meant to be lived. It's not, oh, this is my meditative experience, and everything is one, and I'm one with God, and then I stand up from my meditation, and I hate you, and I hate you, and you bother me, and you make me angry, and you're the problem, right? Then it means obviously your meditation is not very deep, not very profound. So everything we experience in meditation, we are supposed to take with us when we stand up. But this particular practice is really powerful to bring into your lives. Because you'll notice if you become aware, mindful, that as you move through your day, you have different reactions, different feelings. Frustration, anger, resentment, competition, jealousy, regret, guilt, greed, lust, right? I mean, we could do that all night. Like, this is what our days in our minds look like. Every time one of those arises, you get to look at it and say, Neti-Neti, not this. There may be a pattern in the brain that we call anger. But we've already determined I am not the chemistry and electricity in my brain, so I am not my anger. There may be a chemical reaction in the body of hormones that we call lust. But I am not chemicals. We've already discovered that. Whether they're in my brain, whether they're in my bloodstream, whether they're pouring out of my adrenal glands, I'm not chemicals. Which means I'm not the lust, the stress, the anger. As things arise in your life, you get to look at them the same way that I look at the sari, or that you look at your skin or your bones or your muscles and you say, I am not this. Neti-Neti. So the moment that you notice frustration arising, anger arising, stress arising, jealousy arising, lust arising, just look at it and say, Neti-Neti, not this, not this. I am not my jealousy any more than I am my clothes. I am not my resentment any more than I am my kidneys. I am not my anger any more than I am my teeth or the chemistry in my brain. These are all aspects of the physical body. So as it arises in the day, just look at it. Neti, Neti, not this, not this. And it's a beautiful meditation in action to just bring you back. This is who I am. So that's how we bring it into our day. Do it as a meditation, but then live it in your day.
The future of internet radio is here. Om Times Radio, IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
This is Kathy Beal, host of Celestial Compass, featuring astrology you can use. Celestial Compass points you to what's going on in the sky and what you can do with it down here on Earth. We also explore fun, effective, and cosmic tools for navigating this adventure we call life. Join me the first and third Monday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for Celestial Compass. It's enlightening, entertaining, and empowering.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAIN.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with inspiration and transformation. The journey from lust to celibacy for tapping our mind power. So first of all, you said something very important that I want to make sure everyone heard. He began by saying he's a Guinness Book World Record holder for memorizing the entire Oxford Dictionary, including the page numbers. And that he practices celibacy because without that, he doesn't have the inner energy, the inner mind power to do this. And that now he's training others to be able to do that. So this is a lot of what our rishis and sages have said for thousands of years, which is that our internal ojas, that internal energy of the system, not just the physical body, but the energetic body. Every time we engage in sex, we're not just losing physical fluids of the body. We're actually also losing ojas. And so it weakens immune systems, but it also weakens mental power. Now, there's a couple of pieces about this, though. First of all, lust doesn't exist only in our genitals. So it's not if I can just keep my genitals under control, then I'm going to be okay. It actually exists in the mind as well. I may be physically celibate, I may not be engaging in any sexual activity at all. But if my mind is constantly thinking, oh my God, I can't believe this. This is ridiculous. I want to have sex so badly. Oh my God, I bet that person would be really great to have sex with. Oh God, I wonder what it would be like with that person. Oh, those people, I think they just went in to have sex. Now, if we are constantly thinking about it, we're actually worse off than if we're doing it. Because it's occupying all of our minds, so our mind power, of course, is completely gone. And the mind uses ojas as well. And so whether we are memorizing a dictionary or thinking about sex, they're both utilizing ojas. So just keeping the body under control is not actually enough. And this is why in our Indian tradition, we speak about different phases of life, because it's really clear that not everyone at every phase of their life is meant to be celibate. It's wonderful that you are. Congratulations. Many of us take vows of celibacy at young ages. Take sannyas at young ages. I was only 29 when I took sannyas. But for a lot of people, that phase of life comes after the householder phase. That we first go through a whole phase of life called the grihasthashram phase, in which we are a householder and we have sexual relations, dharmic, monogamous, healthy sexual relations with our spouse. We end up with children. And after that, we start going into vanprasthashram phase and sannyasashram phase. So I mention that because you should not feel like somehow every one of you, at every phase of your life, needs to be celibate or you won't have your brain functioning. If you are not ready to be celibate, and the mind is not able to come under control, then you're actually worse off than if you simply engage in dharmic, monogamous, sexual relationships with your spouse. Because typically, in most relationships, you're not having sex 30 times a day, every day, 365 days a year, right? But when you're not having sex and you're thinking about it 30 plus times a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And all of that energy that is being wasted in the mind thinking about it is more harmful than an occasional dharmic coming together of a husband and wife, or whatever the two people may be, in love, in union, dedicating that to the divine. It's why we have the Kama Sutra, because it teaches us how to take that which is very natural in married relations and also make it spiritual. How to offer that to the divine in a way that isn't depleting us, but is actually enhancing us. So I think the path is fantastic. I think it's definitely the right path for some people. It's the right path for more people as you get older. But along the way, conserving your ojas is very important. And by the way, not only sex is not the only thing that depletes it, either doing it or thinking about it. Anger depletes it. Unnecessary talk depletes it. Gossip, negativity. Lots and lots of things deplete our ojas. You ever find yourself in a conversation with someone where you haven't even stood up, you're just sitting down chatting, but suddenly you find yourself like, oh my God, I'm so drained from this conversation. And all you've done is been gossiping or talking negatively about other people. That drains our ojas. All of the vasanas, they drain ojas. Desires drain ojas. Sitting here all day long, whether it's sex I'm desiring or more money, or the office of the person next to me. Why does that person have the office? That's not fair. I want that office. I should have that office. We're depleting our ojas with every one of those thoughts. I'm too good for this little cubicle. Why does that person get the big office? Don't they know I'm the one who does all the work around here? You're depleting your ojas. So it's beautiful what you're doing. And it's a beautiful message to people of protect your ojas. And celibacy is certainly a very, very powerful way to do it. But it's important just to remember that it's not necessarily the right path for all people at all times. And with people for whom it's not the right path at that time, to help them work with their path so that they can conserve as much of that energy in thought, in word, in action as possible. So, yeah, thank you so much for bringing up that beautiful topic, and congratulations.
The future of internet radio is here. Om Times Radio, IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
This is Kathy Beal, host of Celestial Compass, featuring astrology you can use. Celestial Compass points you to what's going on in the sky and what you can do with it down here on Earth. We also explore fun, effective, and cosmic tools for navigating this adventure we call life. Join me the first and third Monday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for Celestial Compass. It's enlightening, entertaining, and empowering.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAIN.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with inspiration and transformation. Does denying the needs of the body and suppressing emotions create mental problems? If yes, should seekers renounce? So first of all, renunciation is not the answer to needs of the body or emotional issues. That becomes just repression or denial. That's just denial in saffron clothes. That's not what renunciation is about. It's not, oh, I've got these needs or I have these emotions and I don't want to deal with them, therefore I'm going to put on saffron clothes and pretend that I don't have them. Doesn't work. As anybody who's ever tried to change their clothes into anything knows, what you wear, it doesn't change what's going on in your mind or in the chemicals of your body. It reminds us of a path we're walking. But if you're angry in jeans and a t-shirt, you're going to be angry in saffron clothes. If you are lustful and greedy in jeans and a t-shirt, you're going to be lustful and greedy in saffron robes. You're just going to be more repressed about it. Or you're going to try to hide it more. So that doesn't actually serve anyone. So first of all, denying the needs of the body, does it cause mental problems? Well, first of all, it causes physical problems. The body has needs. Food, water, sleep, oxygen. Those are kind of the most basic. And yeah, in spiritual work, we do for short times deny those needs for a short time. Not long enough to harm the body, but long enough actually to strengthen the mind, to teach us, the body is clamoring for food, but I'm fasting today. I'm not responding to that. And yet here I am. The sky hasn't fallen, I haven't exploded or imploded. The world hasn't ceased to exist. And it's a very powerful lesson because it teaches us that we are not simply responses to stimuli. We're not like Pavlov's dogs that salivate at a bell and, well, we don't have a choice. Yeah, sometimes the body sends a signal. It wants food, it wants water, it wants sleep, it wants sex, it wants this. And we act like, oh my God, I had no choice. What fasting does in a healthy way, what staying awake all night, every once in a while, we do it sometimes on Shivaratri, for example, or Krishna Janmashtami, or certain full moons. There are just very auspicious nights sometimes during the year to stay awake and meditate all night. And they're just very powerful times, not just to be awake in the night, but to teach the mind that just because the body is saying sleep doesn't mean I have to be a robot responding to it. Body can say sleep, and I say, not tonight. Not that sleep is bad, not that I'm not going to sleep again, not that we shouldn't get a good night's sleep, we should. And it's a very powerful way of training the mind to every once in a while engage in these practices, whether it's a short-term fast, whether it's staying awake all night meditating, whatever it may be, but something in which you know you're going to go back to it. I am going to eat again. I am going to sleep again. But simply to train the mind. I'm not just a reactionary mechanism. There's some chemical reaction in the body and I jump to attention. The mind says eat, I eat. The mind says do this, I do it. So it trains the mind. Now, if you don't give in to the body's needs ever, if you literally starve yourself, you will suffer. If you stop sleeping, you will suffer. There's lots of literature about, I think it's 2 nights of sleep. I can't remember exactly the statistics, but something like going 24 hours without sleep is something like the equivalent of drinking 3 glasses of alcohol. You're drunk. The mind and the brain and the body is that badly impaired. So to not sleep, to not eat, to not drink harms the body before it even harms the emotions. But in short-term controlled bursts, it's actually very, very powerful as a practice, a spiritual practice to remind us that we are not just slaves. In terms of suppression of emotion, yeah, you get mental problems. I mean, you become unhealthy. Mental health cannot be achieved through suppression. To simply say, I'm not angry, right? Somebody says to us, what's wrong? We say, nothing. Well, what is that actually achieved, right? We know we're angry. They obviously know we're angry. It's achieved nothing but to draw a wedge further between us and that person who asked. And to deny it to ourselves is just as detrimental. You can't simply decide you are not angry. You have to actually work with anger. You have to make decisions that whatever it is that causes anger, my expectations, my grudges, that I'm actually going to work with those and let them go so that anger doesn't arise. Not just that I'm going to take it and suppress it. So, whenever emotions are there, what I always say is, allow them. But don't hook the awareness into it. So, it arises like a wave on the beach. It comes and it peaks and it dissipates and goes. We get stuck in emotions when we hook ourselves into it, when we start telling ourselves a story about it. So if I notice anger is arising, just the pure energy of anger, I'm not going to suppress it, I'm not going to deny it, I'm not going to repress it, but I'm also not going to get engaged in a whole drama around it. I'm not going to let the mind get into its whole story of why I'm angry and how dare that person and I'm so nice to them and I do everything and then they treat me like junk and it's not fair and who do they think they are, and that's not healthy. All that does is it just keeps creating more and more anger. It just keeps intensifying it. It's not actually helping you heal from it. It's just building it up more and more and more. So when emotions arise, we just notice them. Anger. Okay. And then you just allow it. It's just an energy. Just like any energy. You close your eyes and you allow it to come into the body. And you just stay anchored in the breath. And it'll do its thing. It'll literally rise in the body. You'll feel the breath get a little shorter. You'll feel it, heartbeat start to increase a little. You may find yourself a little flushed. But you just keep drawing the awareness to the breath. Not to stop the anger, but just to stay grounded in the midst of it. Literally like you would if there were a big wave in the ocean. You just stay anchored and grounded. And it just comes and it rises and it peaks. And you're still sitting. You're still breathing. And then it dissipates. And again, like a wave, it just goes back out to sea. So that's the way to deal with emotions. Don't repress them or deny them. You'll give yourself not only mental health issues, but physical health issues. Because guess what? The mind and the body are not separate. What we think, how we feel, is directly linked to not only our mental health, but our physical health. So we allow it. We accept it. We see it. not suppressing, not denying. You can't renounce anger. When we talk about renunciation, it's a renunciation of different types of attachments. It's a renunciation of different worldviews. It's a renunciation of different activities. But it's not a renunciation of emotion. You can't do that. The only way for them to dissipate is for you to notice them, be aware, allow. And then automatically they wane on their own. If you can just unhook the mind that wants to keep repeating it over and over and over again from it. This brings to a close this hour of inspiration and transformation. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad to be together with you all each week. And I look forward to being together again next Thursday, same time, on Om Times Radio.